Hi, my name is Sarah Hemminger, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Thread. Well, it's interesting. Most people actually do believe that after the age of 5, it's too late. I can tell you both as a neuroscientist and as someone who's been working with young people for over a decade, that's just simply not true. The brain's the second most plastic time in the evolution of your brain is actually adolescence. So it's not just under the age of 5, that's a critical period, but there's other critical periods. What actually influences decision-making of adolescence is two key things. One is reward. So if a young person's trying to decide, do I sell drugs or do I go to school today? What your brain does is says, well, what do I get for each option? If I sell drugs today, maybe I'll get $200. If I go to school and graduate, get a middle-class job, maybe I'll earn $400 a day. The problem with that is that 400 is discounted over time versus the 200 you get now. So the 200 is actually more valuable than the 400. The second thing your brain looks at is likelihood, and this is the thing we don't talk about enough, which is how much do I believe if I actually perform that action, I'm going to get the reward? Well, what does your brain do to figure that out? It looks at data. So it looks at how many people do I know have sold drugs and gotten $200. So if you know a lot of people who have done that or you've done it yourself, there's a ton of data points saying, if I do this action, I'm going to get my money. But then if you have never seen someone go to school, graduate, get into college, graduate, get a middle-class job, you have no data points, your brain actually processes that as, if I perform this action, it'll be for nothing, because this is not real. And so why would you ever delay gratification for something that's never going to happen? You wouldn't. And that's the equation that we have to change for our young people, is that they are making very rational decisions based on the information they have. They are picking, say, selling drugs over going to school because that is actually the rational thing to do. The question is, how do we influence the reward? So what are the things we can do in real time to drive their decision in a different direction? But how do we change the likelihood? How do we elevate the success of young people who have gone to school, graduated, gotten into college, graduated, and gotten that middle-class job? How do we tell that story? Because, and for Thread, that's what our older students are. They are the data points for our younger students of, this is not only possible, but I have proof. Because your brain cares about proof, right? It's actually saying, this has happened, it is happening, it's gonna continue to happen, and let me show you how to do it, right? And so I think part of our value proposition is, we started with 9th grade students simply because that was where I was stopped at a streetlight. There was no more thinking behind it than that. But we have stayed with high school students because we know that influencing the decision making at that age is absolutely critical. The other thing we know is that enrolling the most academically underperforming students, them succeeding creates indisputable data points, not just for young people, that there's not a single child who's a lost cause, right? It makes a statement about everyone is valuable. If the most academically underperforming students can do this, then we should not, then no one is disposable. But it also makes a value proposition to our city as a whole, which is our young people are not the only people working with these data points. Our entire city is working with a set of data points that say, why bother trying? This child's gonna end up dead or in jail anyway. So why would you take time away from your job or your children to go pick another kid up for school if you think they're going to end up dead or in jail? You wouldn't. And that is where we are as a city, is that we have to change the data points that everyone is working with, because if we do, we will mobilize people. And that's what's happening. Why do we have over 1,000 volunteers and collaborators? It's because our older students have been successful. And I don't just mean academically successful, they've emerged as leaders in their community, right? And it's their success that's providing data points broadly to then get everyone else mobilized and involved. So it's creating a virtuous circle that we want to continue to reinforce.